Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Taking the Lead, where I have the joy of interviewing respected leaders from the fields of PR and marketing and agencies. But we don't talk about agencies and marketing. We talk about leadership. And today, I am beyond thrilled to introduce an iconic leader who I had the joy to work for and learn from and learn so much about leadership and myself, the amazing Marina Maher. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She is the chair of Marina Maher Communications and RX Mosaic. She is the founder of the Omnicom PR Group's Institute for Women's Leadership. And you can bet we're going to talk about that. Previously, she was the founder and CEO, of course, of Marina Maher Communications, which, as many of you may know, she launched on her dining room table in 1983. Again, I am thrilled to welcome to the podcast to share with you Marina Maher.
Thank you, Ken. What a wonderful introduction and how kind of you. Although it occurs to me we've known each other for a very long time, so I don't have many secrets from you.
That's very true. That's very true. So let's just dig right in. As I said a minute ago, you started Marina Maher Communications on your dining room table, 1983. What do you know now that you wish you knew then?
Yes, hindsight is a wonderful thing to have, right? Driving with the rear view mirror on. There are a couple of things I wish I knew. One is that at the end of the day, it all works out. And my mother used to say that to me, and I used to say, no, but this is a problem, or this is wrong, or this is going to happen, or whatever. And my mother would say, calm down. At the end, it all works out. Somehow, some way, maybe not how you think it's going to work out, but it works out. And lo and behold, 40 years later, it has. So she was right.
Great advice. Wow. So anyone who knows you, who worked with you knows, or even if they didn't work for you, they know that Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive is your song of inspiration. But did you ever wonder if you made the right decision to launch an agency, or worry would it succeed? And how did you get through that?
So I only had real terror once that maybe I did the wrong thing, because my mother also told me that when there were bad things, you just have to say, this too shall pass. So when, the bumps and lumps of starting a company, any company, came, I would say that, exhale and then move on. But the time that it was terror, I'd gone to Europe and I made a new business pitch, and it didn't go wonderfully well. I didn't like the questions they asked. I didn't think they were buyer's questions, and I was concerned. So I get on the plane back to the United States, and I am nervous. And I realized that the book I was reading, I had packed in my suitcase, and I didn't have it with me. So out of desperation, I grabbed from the seat pocket the airline book. And the first article I turned to, I swear, said, why most businesses fail in their first year. I read it 30 times.
No,
and that was it.
no.
As soon as we took off, I ordered a glass of wine, and I thought, please, God, let me go to sleep. I don't want to deal with this. And shortly thereafter, we landed at Kennedy. So that was good.
That is hysterical.
That was the one time.
Yeah, you've mentioned your mom. I remember you're mentioning your dad. I believe this line is from your dad. I believe you turned this into a plaque for me at the office, something like, hell is when God gives you what you wished for. Something like that. Wasn't that your dad?
Hell is God giving you what you thought you wanted.
Well, you thought you.
And I still have that plaque in my office.
Wait, I think I want it back. I think
I stole it.
Okay, it's okay. Your name was on the door, so I guess it's okay. All right. So you recently announced you were turning over the reins as CEO and founding the aforementioned OPRG Institute for Women's Leadership. What are its goals and why are you so excited about it?
So the number one goal is to help women advance in their careers. But what I'm really excited about is we're looking at helping women in two very specific ways. One is what you might obviously expect, hard skills. What do you need to know to get up the ladder? So do you know how to read a P&L? Can you read an annual report? How do you analyze the client's business by listening to what the analysts say? So there's all the hard skills that go into climbing up the ladder. But then we're going to be doing extensive work, and certainly on all levels, but especially some senior levels, on soft skills. One of the things that I find that is difficult for some people is how to read the room. They're genuine, they're authentic, they're honest, they're open, and they don't always read a furrowed brow, or someone going like this, or someone crossing their arms, or someone distracted for whatever reason. And those are obvious signs, but then you can tell patterns, and you can tell how people take in information and how they like to receive information. And that helps you learn to read the room. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking, especially on soft skills, of how to deepen client relationships. We all know that good client relationships are built on trust. That's a given. But then how do you build it from there? How do you make it deeper? How do you make it better? I mean, should your goal be to go to every client's wedding if they're young, or every client's children's wedding if they're that age? But there should be some kind of goal and metric of how you deepen that relationship and personalize it and humanize it with them.
So important. And just from what you said about soft skills and reading the room, my recollection is, and I assume you'll remember this, is that when we would pitch a big piece of business, you would do the intro, thanks for having us, maybe a little bit about agency values, a little bit about history, and then you turned it over to us. I would often talk strategy, and Suzanne Haber might talk media, et cetera, et cetera. And your job was to read the room. You didn't, it was without ego. You didn't have to present 3/4 of it or half of it or 25% of it. You did the intro and then you read the room as you just described. And you would know if the decision makers were with us. And if they weren't, you would be very comfortable, sort of interrupting the presentation and say, Joe, what about that resonates? Did any of it work or not? You would engage. You would courageously go there, because I think you knew that if they're not with us, it doesn't matter if we were getting a lot of nodding heads from everyone else. And that was a great gift. And I think it certainly contributed to that winning streak that we had. And I thought it was generous. And in full candor, when I consult with agencies on new business, I remind them someone's got to be Marina, right? Someone's got to be in charge of reading the room, and especially the decision maker.
Yeah.
So
thank you. I'm flattered, and I'm glad you're teaching that, because I think it's critical.
And I do credit you. So there's that.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's have fun. You may not realize this. You may not. But everyone who's ever worked for you talks about really how you inspire us to this day. The list is so long, and especially your Marina-isms. My favorite, which absolutely in full candor, I think of and apply weekly, is you don't ask, you don't get.
Oh.
What's your favorite?
So, we started the agency with very little money. I mean, I had literally $300 in the bank, and I was in the midst of a divorce. True story. And so everything we did counted double time and triple time. And I wasn't worried about it, because I think I realized early on, when you don't have money, you have to have ideas. And I had plenty of ideas. But sometimes the best idea and the best laid plan can go off track. So my favorite expression for managing relationships, a company, client relationships, give me the bad news early.
Oh,
Because if you do, remember that one? If you do, I can do something, right? I have a runway to get ahead of it. I can jump in and try to help. I can try to save. I can do, I'm sorry, mea culpa, whatever it takes to ameliorate the situation. But if I don't know and it explodes and comes to bite me, then I'm going to be less effective to help the people and help the agency.
I will vouch for the fact that that was an often stated Marina-ism. And I'll add to that, you were very funny. You'd say, if the client's mad, if the media event isn't working, if whatever, tell me, I will be fine. I'm fine with the big bad stuff. But if the toner or the ink in the copier isn't working,
Right.
keep away. You don't want to be near me because I will flip out. And that was very good advice. But you did create an environment where we felt comfortable coming in and saying, it's going to hell in a handbasket. We always had to say at any level, here's my plan. What do you think?
Right.
And you would always say, okay, and either you'd add to it or suggest an alternative, and always with, and how can I help you through this? It was generous leadership. It really was. It really was. It's all coming back. So speaking of inspiration and leadership, who are the top one, two, or three leaders who've inspired you? And please tell us why.
So I'm going to answer it a little differently than you might expect.
Okay.
There are two qualities I look for, and I'm talking about female leaders right now because so much of my career has been helping women, marketing to women. The first is I love female pioneers, whether it's Amelia Earhart or Hillary Clinton running for president or Michelle Obama doing what she did. I love pioneers who break ground. And the second I look for is people who have thrived on adversity, tough childhood, not a lot of resources, and prevailed, conquered, built a business, built relationships. So there's one woman who kind of falls into both categories, and that recently deceased is Barbara Walters. She was my idol.
Mm-hmm.
I was growing up in the business. I was an account supervisor, and Barbara Walters was at the Today Show, and I had to pitch Barbara Walters. So you can imagine, I sweat over the pitch. I wrote it 1,000 times. Those days, you place calls, and those days, people actually answer their phone.
Even
Wonderful
Barbara
thing.
Walters.
Even Barbara Walters. And I pitched it, and I didn't hear anything, dead silence on the other side of the phone. And then she said, so I asked you a couple of questions. And she asked some questions, and she said, right. So I think the hook is, and she went right into the angle for the story, the hook. And she took what I had blah, 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 and reshaped it just by listening into this wonderful thing. And she said, okay, somebody will call you, we'll talk dates. And that was it. The client was going to be on. And ever since that moment, you can imagine, I mean, I picked 3 different outfits to wear to the green room that morning with the client. I got to talk to her. I thanked her. I don't remember what I said. I could have said the recipe for egg foo young for all I remember. But I remember being impressed and grateful for teaching me, find the angle, find the hook. What's the news? I buried it in the 3rd paragraph of what I said. And then I followed her career. She was the first to be a female newscaster.
Sure.
Right? She was on multiple specials that she created the whole format of one-on-one interviews. And she was bold and courageous. She asked tough questions during her interview. And I respect and admire that. So Barbara Walters is someone who's my role model, always has been, always will be. From time to time, she wrote a wonderful biography. From time to time, I reread it.
That's great.
It's that inspiring to me.
Yeah. Great anecdote, great situation. Okay, as we wrap up, what's your message to women who want to lead, who truly be leaders, regardless of industry?
2 words: lean in.
Mm.
Grab every opportunity that's presented to you. You can't say, no, I'm not sure I want to do that. I mean, if it's really wrong or bad, of course, but lean in, because there are more opportunities around than one thinks. And if people see that you're open to opportunities, they'll offer you more. Lean in means show up, be present at the meeting. Lean in means show up, be present at the meeting, and start to lead the meeting when you can, or when you're in the position to be able to do it. Lean into clients. Lean into what are their real business problems you're trying to solve. Yes, of course, it's about influencers. Of course, it's about media coverage. Of course, it's about strategy. But at the end of the day, if we create campaigns and don't solve clients' business problems, we just become a commodity. We don't want to be that. So I think lean in is a 360-degree effort on all areas of business and relationships.
Great. Very, very inspiring, Art.
Thank you.
I wish the podcast were an hour long. I have so many other questions for you, but we've done our 6. Marina Maher, thank you so much for spending time, for sharing your wisdom. If I can speak for the industry, we are all so excited to see what you do with the Institute for Women's Leadership. There are going to be women who are going to be in for a dose of knowledge and inspiration, maybe a little tough love from time to time, that it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
And you're just going to be spreading that inspiration for generations. It's any of us who worked for you are so excited for you, and we want to hear about how well it's going to go. It's thrilling. So I thank you so much for spending time with us today.
And it is I who thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
Oh, my pleasure. And everyone else out there, find Marina on LinkedIn. I hope it's okay to say that. We say that with all our guests, especially if you're maybe a younger woman in the business or even in the middle and you want some inspiration. And if you want some help with your leadership or business or whatever, you know where to find me, KEN@JACOBSCOMM.com. And until next time, keep on taking the lead.